Yes, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of our Think Differently videocast. Today we have a very, let's say, controversial, but it's an interesting topic to say the least. We will be talking about some of the opportunities or some of the skills that we feel high school leavers or potential high school leavers, so that your grade 10, 11, 12s could look into to open up more doors for you for job opportunities, not only in SA but around the world as well, you know.
Overseas.
So we already know some of the issues that we're facing in this country, the high level of unemployment caused by, people studying things that are sort of like redundant or will be redundant or obsolete in the years to come because of things like AI and the fast pace of the technology of technology as well. So we'll just be discussing some of the job opportunities that we think are going to be very useful to anyone who studies these skills that we will mention in this episode. So without further ado, let's jump into it, dog. What's the first one?
So these are skills that we actually need in the country, and we think we have a lot of, but we actually don't. So the first one would be your artisans, right? So artisans is being anyone who is good with their hands, like your electricians, your plumbers, almost like your handyman. Those are artisans, they're good with their hands. So, there is a huge demand for artisans in South Africa. What you haven't noticed is a lot of them are foreign, right? So from other countries, your Zimbabwe, your neighboring countries, your Botswana, etc., etc. So these are all people who come from there, to show their skills. And strangely enough, the average age of artisans in South Africa is 55. Imagine being 55 and still working with your hands, So which none of us ideally plan to do, but for some of us, it's our strengths. So let's use those strengths to our advantage. Like, for example, something that I found very interesting is like woodwork. It's becoming quite popular now. So if you are good at woodwork, definitely try out this industry. It's beneficial. You've seen it everywhere, especially with the pallets. Those pallets that they use. Use the pallets to lay down, like on a table, or for a seat, whatever. Some great ideas can come from that. So how to become an artisan or a specialized individual in the field is essentially what you can do is you just have to pass a test in the trade, right? You could go to a TVET college as well, that actually prepares you theoretically for the trade. So whether it be plumbing, to be an electrician or to do woodwork, so the college prepares you theoretically for that, but you would have to get the on-site experience, or you would have to build something in your private space, to get that practical experience. And so those are just some of the ways on how to become an artisan. And then, why should you become an artisan? Well, South Africa has a shortage of these skills. A good example, so like I said, we are from the south, and if you go to Builder's Warehouse, right, you see a lot of the guys sitting there with their sign, electrician, plumber, tiler, etc. If you've ever spoken to those guys, a lot of them are not from South Africa. A lot of them are foreign nationals, right? So that already tells you there's a shortage of our people doing this job if they are waiting there, right? So that's one good reason, is that we don't have the skills in South Africa and we need them. And the second thing is, university is not for everyone, not just financially, just mentally as well. We're not all equipped to go to university and to go straight and follow that book and perform everything according to the book. Some of us are, like I said, good with our hands. That's our strength. So why not go into a TVET college? It's what you're good at. Use it to your advantage. Get paid to be happy at what you do and be good at what you do. So that was just the one that I had.
So that's an interesting one, artisans or artisanship. So another one that I want to speak on is the demand for healthcare workers, right? So we all know, obviously, when it comes to healthcare workers, there's different fields that you can go into. There's being a doctor, neurosurgeon, urologist, audiologist, all those things, right? So by now, I feel like if you are in grade 10, there's probably a lot of students in high school who have an idea of where they want to go, right? So, but I want to kind of like shift into one, which is nurses, right? The demand for nurses in the healthcare sector. Right, so with the influx, with the increase in immigration, with the increase in population, it now brings a spike in people demanding healthcare.
Yeah.
There's no new diseases being plaguing us all over. So there will be constantly be a demand for healthcare workers, right? So we all know the significance of nurses. We all know they are probably the most employed healthcare people in the healthcare industry, right? So why would you want to be a nurse if you are someone who enjoys taking care of people? If you find fulfillment from taking care of people, making sure that people are healthy, this is probably a job for you. Also, depending on the level of nursing, because I know there's different levels. There's your midwives, and there's different types of nursing. So please do your research, depending on whatever, as I feel like, almost like whatever type of nurse you're going to be, the rewards will be financial. And we do know that, like I said, the demand for healthcare workers, especially nurses, there is a demand. So it's a very, very good opportunity for you to get work. You know, it's very rare to see an unemployed nurse, given that you do get the qualifications. How do you get the qualifications? You can go study at UJs, your VITs, your Stellenbosch's and whatnot, right? Your UPs. Just make sure that you research the admission requirements, what you need to study right now, especially if you're in grade 11, 12, grade 10 or 11. If you want to go into this industry as well, you can go to private nursing colleges like your Mediclinic and your Netcare Clinic. They also offer nursing courses as well. And then once you do graduate, once you do get the qualification, you have to register with the South African Nursing Council. And then from there, you can obviously start looking for opportunities in that field. So obviously with nursing, it's not a set in stone job. You don't have to work at a hospital. I know some people don't like that whole scene. So you can always work at government institutions like prisons and stuff like that. You can work at schools. The possibilities are endless. Just do your research, figure out exactly why you want to be a nurse, how you can be a nurse, and where you can obviously practice your trade. So yeah, nursing. So
is nursing, do they use the same term for like males, if a male wants to be a nurse? It's the same term, right?
Yeah, it's the same term, just the male nurse.
So the good thing about being a nurse is that you don't have to be male or female. It's for everyone. As long as you enjoy taking care of someone, being able to nurse them and make sure they're all good. So I guess so don't feel discouraged to think that nursing is only for females or it's only a woman's job. It's not that.
It's definitely not that.
Nursing, that's quite a good one, bro. And then the third one that I have was basically something that's very popular and we haven't realized, but technology, right, has certainly integrated into our lives, right? Like from finance to healthcare to even entertainment, right? It's changed the way a lot of things has been done, So with that, we have a huge demand for people who are technologically inclined, right? So your tech heads, if I could be a bit more informal. And because we had a lot more demand for them, right? This has led to more job creation in the IT field, right? So the IT field is very big. So there's a lot you can get into there. Two major ones that feels quite important is your software engineers and your IT specialists, right? There's a lot that goes in those two components as well. So it's not just like, in your accounting you would say there's your chartered accountants, there's your bookkeepers, you could name them, right? But IT is very big. Your software engineers are your people who develop systems and softwares for your corporations, right? Can be big, can be small, but generally you'll find them at bigger corporations, right? Because they are highly paid, they have a skill in demand, right? So these systems can be anything from like your payment systems to your information storage systems. Like I've mentioned in the previous episode, a storage system like SAP, right? SAP CRM is globally used, and there's a lot of custom information that gets stored on that. And for that you need your software engineers, right, to manage that. And so in order to become a software engineer, right, there's the option of obviously going to a tertiary education and getting your bachelor's degree in computer sciences. My personal alternative is a bit more working smarter to me, because if you know someone who's in the field, hang around them often, get used to the process if it's what you want to do, right? Understand what they do, let them teach you without you having to pay this 4-year, 3-year course, it's going to cost you over 100,000 rand, right? So there's that option as well. And the next thing you could do, you could always apply for internships, right, at major companies. Another popular one, which people don't know about, is you can do a lot of short courses from companies that are globally known, right? They may even offer a better chance of, for example, employment for you because, like I said, those companies are global. It's not your local startup business in South Africa that just knows they're trying to find their feet. It's a global institution that's globally recognized. Right? That's the best way I could put it. Really look into that field, do a lot more research on it if it's something that you feel it's what you want to do. And yeah, the second thing I mentioned is your IT specialist, right? Your IT specialist can range from individuals who do software development, hardware development. Could even be someone who develops cloud platforms. You know, those are your IT specialists. But like I said, because the field is so big, you get someone specifically for cloud computing. You get someone specifically for software development. Right? You get someone specifically for hardware development. In order to become an IT specialist, the process is very similar to a software engineer, right? You could get a degree, you could gain experience, you could also do the short courses, you know, from a few companies that are globally recognized.
So I like what you said on the whole short course thing though, because now the pace at which the technology is moving right now, obviously a lot of institutions can't keep up and provide all of these programs, so to speak. So you can always look for short courses depending on where you want to work, whether you want to be a developer or designer or network engineer or whatnot. Like you said, it's a broad spectrum of job opportunities and skills demanded, right? So like for example, there's a open source mobile application called React Native from Facebook. So it's basically for developers to develop software for iOS and Android.
Okay.
You know, so those are some of the things that you should obviously look into. You know, courses that are more specific to the job or the industry in which you want to go for.
Yeah.
You know, specify. You know, try look at what are the current technological trends. Right. So coding, programming, like you said, network engineering, or cloud computing, or data scientists, or whatever. Try and look at courses that obviously give you the specific skill that's needed in that IT space. You know, I know, for example, Cisco, they offer designated courses for certain skills in the IT space. You know, so it's a world-renowned, recognized company that if you do get certification from them, you know, it is definitely valuable and a lot more recognizable from people who are employing people in the IT space. You know, Cisco is one of them. Yeah, like I said, some of the institutions offering these courses that are specialized. Another one is Talk IT, another internationally recognized IT course provider that will obviously get you more valuable skills that are attractive to potential employers, not only locally but internationally as well. You know, so obviously most of these courses, like I said, technological space in SA, I feel like it's still warming up to the technological advancements. So most of these courses will obviously be provided from companies that are leading the trend, so international companies. So please be aware that some of the courses that you will do are international, and sometimes you will pay in dollars or another currency from which it is being provided from. So just do your research on what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to invest your hard-earned money in. And
So one thing I felt was very important, and I don't know if we articulated this correctly, but the Cisco, you know, if you have a qualification from Cisco, it's as good as having a degree from you know, whatever university you went to. It's globally recognized. And having that global exposure, you must know they're not just teaching you what South Africa knows. They're teaching you what's happening in your UK, your America. Those are your first world countries. So you're getting first world knowledge. You know, versus here we're still trying to adapt to that environment. So just make sure that you guys really look out and understand, you know, even for parents as well, that, you know, maybe Wits may not be the best university for this field. Maybe Cisco short course would do them way better versus. You know, and something on this, bro, is, and I forgot to mention it since we're talking about IT stuff, is your cybersecurity. Right? So cybersecurity is just basically trying to prevent any threats or any potential data loss through the IT space. It could be on the cloud, it could be through information systems, anything that has to do, it could be your payment systems as well, right? So anyone who can hack a system, then there's already a problem in the system. Hence we have cybersecurity, and I've seen it personally in the corporate world that it's a field that is very in demand right now, considering the environment we've gone into of working from home, for example. A lot of us don't have secure Wi-Fi's. Anyone can hack the Wi-Fi, which will then affect your personal laptop or your work laptop or whatever you're working on. So cybersecurity is something that you should look into, because that's definitely going to be an up-and-coming industry, considering how fast-paced the technology is moving.
Yeah, that's pretty much, I want to say, sum up the IT space. But I want to look into another one, which is UIUX Design, which is user interface and user experience design. Just to conceptualize it, let me give you an example of Airbnb. Right? I know a lot of us use Airbnb, like going to Cape Town and Durban and Harties and whatnot. So, say you want to go to a place, you download the app obviously on your mobile phone, you open it, you put in your password and whatnot, and then you look for affordable accommodation for the nights or days you're going to stay. You check out, you pay, and then your reservation is booked and whatnot. So that whole experience from opening the app and actually booking is the user experience. So people who actually, the engineers behind it, if I can say, are the user experience designers. Whereas the interface is more of the people who put together the layout, the pictures, how many rooms, the rules, those has those rules and regulations and whatnot, the pricing points, the card payments, all those things. That's what the user interface does. So it's a huge platform. Given that now most businesses are moving their operations online, so there will be a demand for both UX and UI. There's key differences, like I explained now, but they do work hand in hand as well.
Yeah, they would have to work together.
Exactly, just to give you the complete product. So it is a space that I think people should look into. Just to reiterate what I said before, it's not something that we have still warmed up to, so it isn't something you can find at a university. But there are courses online that you can utilize. Like I said, there's a number of courses you can look for on platforms like Udemy, Skillshare as well. Obviously requires a lot of practice. And also think if you can get a degree in your computer science from universities, it will give you a strong foothold, but it isn't specific, hence the encouragement of going for courses on your Skillshare and your Udemy. Also be conscious of the market trends as well. What are some of the platforms that are trending, such as your Azure, React Native, like I mentioned before, Balsamic with you. Yeah, those are some of the platforms that are trending. Some of the big corporations or small businesses are using now in the UI UX design space. So look into it as well, do your research and figure out if it's something for you.
Those are some awesome explanations, because if you look at it with a lot of your small businesses, and I've seen it with small businesses as well, that online platform and online presence to get their business on a website, that you really try and go for the experience to be as simple as possible. A good example is your mobile banking apps. Some of them you'll find where you've had, if you had an account with someone and you try and do something on your mobile banking app, it's almost like it becomes a bit difficult. So those people who leave comments and so forth, they actually help the user experience and the user interface designers to say, okay, we've had a lot of comments about the fact that we don't have a accept button on the screen. Let's look into that. Let's develop an accept button that doesn't affect the other areas. So it's very popular, very up and coming. So look into that. There are other trends. So I mean, guys, there are some of the ones that's really the jobs that's really up and coming. The industry, that's really up and coming. A lot of it is here already, we just don't know. But I think just to end it off, guys, do your research, be very specific on what it is you want to do. If you just want to be in charge of the user interface, that's all you want to do, then do just the user interface courses. If you want to be in charge of the user experience, do just user experience courses. Be very specific, because IT itself is very broad. I mean, there's some items you haven't touched on, which was your cloud computing, very popular now. Your data scientists, that field is so big. I don't even know where to start on that field. So, look into that as well. And then another thing that's just really up and coming that we've seen lately is your blockchain technology. I personally, hlonie, I know you as well. We don't have that much experience in the blockchain field, and I think that's something that we definitely look into. So if there is someone who understands blockchain technology and how it works, let us know.
Some of the ones that we obviously didn't touch. Yes, we do understand these are very technological, because that's just the way the world. That's where the world is heading. You know what I mean? So I'd really love for the grade 10s, the grade 11s, or for the matric students out there, just to be conscious of the fact that some of the things that people are already studying right now. Not to say that you won't get a job if you study accounting or engineering or medicine or whatever those things. Like we said, we're just trying to shed some light on where the world is currently going, and you'd be better off, because education is an investment. You know what I mean? So you'd be better off making the right investment, knowing very well that these opportunities or these job opportunities will be in demand for the next 5 to 10 years, so that when you do graduate or you do get your certification, you are more employable. You know what I mean? So so please, like you said, man, do your research. We are by no means a career guidance platform. Do your research as well on which avenue you want to go into, and I
think that's about it. So just remember, guys, what it's saying is just to think differently.
Exactly.
There are your normal careers if you want to pursue those, but also understand where we're heading, where we are and where we're heading.
Yes.
I mean, give COVID a good example. It changed the whole workspace. So from experience, drastically, from working in big offices to waking up and going to a desk or your lounge or wherever you have decided to set up your home work office. So things have changed in a space of what, March, April, May, June, 6 months. We have people already working from home. So things are moving fast. So you need to keep up with the pace as well.
If there's anything that you feel that you missed out on, some industries or skills that you feel we didn't touch on, and you feel as if it's something that's worth sharing, please comment, send us DMs on our social media platforms. And please understand this is a learning platform as well, that we're trying to shed some light on these things.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.